Hey everybody, Dirk from the Prime XPT Trading Academy here with today's episode of That Crypto Show. And today I want to continue to dive a little bit deeper into technical analysis. I want to talk again about the slingshot trading signal pattern we saw yesterday on Bitcoin. And I want to have a look on the latest on-chain metrics and show you how to tie those into your technical trading signals so you really can gain an edge over the market. So grab your coffee and I'm going to see you in round about 20 seconds. Welcome back. Now, before we start, as always, please leave us a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and leave us a comment. I want to know from you what your Bitcoin target for end of 2021 is. I'm really nosy to hear if we are all on the same page, or maybe there are also some bears out there. Who knows? So on today's episode of That Crypto Show, I want to revisit the trading signal pattern called the slingshot pattern I identified 2 days ago on the Bitcoin chart and that I spoke about yesterday. If you haven't seen the episode where I explained this pattern, I'll leave a link up here so you can rewatch it and then later return here for the update. So 2 days ago, we saw this pattern here moving. Actually, it's a 3-day pattern on the Bitcoin chart, and I said yesterday I like to call this a slingshot pattern. Because you can see normally a volatility squeeze after a pattern like this, which should lead us into the area of 70,000 if it plays out like it normally does. Of course, there are no guarantees for stuff like this. You guys know that. And now what we've seen yesterday and what we are seeing so far today is really that Bitcoin seems to be struggling to get over this hurdle of 63,000, which also coincidentally is the target of the stock to flow model inventor Plan B that he gave out back then in June. Here's the tweet for you to see from June. So 63,000 for October, November 98,000, December 135,000. So those are quite some targets, and right now everything is playing out. But whenever we get technical signals, I think it's always important to also do a reality check. And I like to do my reality check when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies, especially when it comes to trading Bitcoin, by having a look at the Glassnode report to see some on-chain metrics. And the on-chain metrics I want to talk about today are the realized price distribution, the long-term holder net position, the exchange net position change on all exchanges, and the options open interest. So those 4 metrics, because I think they paint a little bit of a different picture of what we are all expecting at the moment from cryptocurrencies. So everybody's kind of expecting at the moment that the price goes up. I mean, I'm expecting that too, you saw that, but nonetheless, a part of becoming a good trader is to continuously challenge your opinion and see if you are still anchored in reality with your trade. So let's first of all have a look at the realized price distribution for Bitcoin. And what we see there really is that, and I've drawn this here over the last couple of weeks, always as support and resistance lines into my chart or areas, is that right now we are a bit in a no man's land. Actually, just around about 1.7% of a total supply of Bitcoin is at the moment sitting on losses. And that was at $60,187. So we are around about $1,000 higher. So that number probably has shrunk. So almost everybody that no matter when bought Bitcoin at one point is sitting on unrealized winnings at the moment. So let that sink in. This is a metric you usually don't see on the stock market or any other market for that matter of fact out there. This is on the one hand something good, because on the way up there's not much resistance now to play with. We are kind of in a no man's land there at the moment. Everybody has to take a blank sheet again and come up with new metrics and new support and resistance to draw into your chart. So this is something good, but this can also be something that can be problematic on the way up, because the higher Bitcoin will rise, the more temptation, of course, for those people that are sitting on winnings. So almost everybody out there at the moment is going to be to take those profits off the table, to take your chips off the table, to put, you know, your profits into your bank account. So this kind of is positive, but we have to see if we see indications of this happening, of people realizing profits at the moment on other metrics. And the second metrics we can look at there is the Bitcoin long-term holder net position change. And what we are seeing there at the moment is that the decline of long-term holders accumulating and hodling is declining a little bit. So this metric shows that people are at the moment long-term holders. Long-term holders by definition from Glassnode are people that hold coins 155 days plus, and those people are starting to spend a little bit. So this also is nothing at the moment that says, like, gives an indication if the price is going to collapse or anything, but that ties into the theory that we are seeing long-term holders slowly starting to realize their profits. Let's have a look at the exchange net position changes at all exchanges. So this shows, are there inflows to the exchanges or are there outflows? Of course, if there are inflows into exchanges, you probably can assume that that people are selling their Bitcoin for example, for Tether, fiat currencies or other cryptocurrencies out there, as we've seen here between May and June, when we had the significant inflows here, which then declined since then. Since mid-July, those have declined again. And what we are seeing now over the course of the last days here, September and October, that this metric is changing again. So yesterday was the first day, or 2 days ago actually, that was the first day again where we had net inflows to exchanges. And this also paints the picture that there are people out there that cannot resist the temptation at the moment to realize profits. So this is something you have to have an eye on as well. Fourth metric I want to show you from on-chain data at the moment is the options open interest. If you don't know what an option is, an option basically gives you the right to buy or sell, for example, Bitcoin at a predefined price. This is called the strike, at a certain date or during a predefined time span. And we are seeing that at the moment that there are quite significant amounts of call options bought with a strike price of 80,000 and above. So it seems like market participants are expecting Bitcoin to move north of that at the moment. On the other hand, there are also people that need to sell those options that are obviously then expecting that prices move downwards. But it doesn't really matter. What matters, in my opinion, here with that metric is that we are seeing really, really large volumes of 12.2 billion US dollars at the moment. And this is, if you compare this to the past, this is something we saw here between March and May again, which was the peak of Bitcoin. So we are not yet in the super dangerous territory. There's still some place to the north, but of course, it also shows that the things are really heating up and maybe that the market is starting to become a little bit overheated. And what we could see here, how this could play out in the price development is, if it really wants to play out, typically it would be that the slingshot becomes true. We had somewhere into this area of 70,000, just to go down then again, maybe by something like 10%. Which would coincidentally lead us exactly to this price of 63,000 and would probably clean out a lot of leverage position in the market. Remember last time we saw a quick decline when we went under 50,000 here. We saw a lot of those option open interest, future open interest and so on. So leverage positions being washed out of the market, sentiment coming into the neutral zone again. So this would be extremely healthy for the next leg up in November, for the next leg up in Bitcoin potentially in November. So there is not really a danger at the moment in the market that screams into our face, get out of the market, things are getting heated up too much. But keep in the back of your head that long-term holders, which are always called so-called smart money in Bitcoin, are starting to use these prices to realize some profits. And if this speeds up, potentially we could see a correction to the downside. Of course, what you can do to protect yourself from a potential downside always is to use a stop loss. I know I'm repeating myself here and it might sound boring for you, but this is really the simple and easiest way to protect yourself against sudden moves to the downwards that maybe have your winning position turn into a loss, and nobody of course wants that. This is all for today. Thanks for watching again. Remember to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel, and remember to leave us this comment. I really want to know what is your Bitcoin price target for end of 2021. Nosy to know what you guys are thinking. We are going to see each other again tomorrow. Until then, have a good day. Bye bye.